Hey gardeners, here we are. It's about the 24th of April. Beautiful day today, but day before yesterday it was 30 degrees, howling wind, whiteout snow conditions. So one of the things we're going to do today, this is going to be Low Tunnel 101. The greenhouse is just about full. We need more room so we can keep planting. So I have to start putting some of the colder hardy plants outside, but we don't want to just set them out on the grass, both from a protection from animal standpoint, but also it's cold at night. So we're going to build one of my favorite simple season extension tools, and that's the low tunnel. Low tunnels are nothing more than a series of hoops. These are just stuck in the ground. These are the ones that we bend up here. They're half-inch EMT metal tubing. You'll see some people make them out of the plastic electrical conduit. I like the metal conduit. It'll last forever. Really rugged, easy to work with. So let's go ahead and build one. First, let's look at a couple of the parts. The hoops, these are made from 10-foot pieces of conduit, so they're 4 feet wide at the bottom, but we can also bend them 6 foot wide. These again are just stuck into the ground. Some of you might say, geez, I would like one that's a little bit higher. Let me show you a simple trick. You can get a little bit of the next size up conduit, which I think is either 5/8 or 3/4. Cut a piece as long as you want, about 6 or 8 inches in, just on each side with a chisel and hammer, make a little dimple. You can put that in the ground and then set the hoops in here, and now you can have a hoop that's this high or higher or whatever you want to do. A lot of flexibility. Because we don't have to get inside of them, we just stick them right in the ground. Another thing, I need these to be able to put up fast, be functional, be solid, but I haven't got a whole lot of time to spend building them. You got to remember, this isn't the Acropolis, it's not the Parthenon. I'm not going to be hanging my Botticelli paintings in here. It's functional. You can make them as long as you want. This one is about 8 or 10 feet long. The hoops generally will space at about 4 feet. We have to put a ridge pole across the top to make the thing rigid. You can either use these spiffy cross clamps, which are a piece of PVC, half-inch little rivet in the middle. They're called cross clamps, and these go on the top of the hoop, and the ridge pole sets down in them. This would be a cross clamp here. Or you can take the simple route. You can use a little hose clamp, or you can tape them with electrical tape. Make them really tight. Really simple. There's no right or wrong. This is just the fancy method. One other thing that I like to do is to put a little diagonal piece across 2 or 3 of the hoops, one end in the ground, and we can again either electrical tape or hose clamp, and that will give you a racking strength on it so that the wind won't collapse it. So very simple. The hoops, ridge pole, 1 or 2 diagonals, and you'll have a nice rigid. They'll move a little bit, but these things are really strong. Some people look at these in the summer to keep the bugs out, and what they'll do is they'll cover it with what we call a row cover or a frost proof. It's just a light kind of a spun fabric. This will give you about a 4-degree protection on a cold night. What I do, because I also keep them up in the summer for growing, we actually cover with greenhouse plastic for the durability. It allows me to completely close them at night, keep the tunnel a lot warmer, and gives me much more protection if you get a heavy wind or a heavy rain. So we use greenhouse plastic. You can use a construction plastic. The problem being that construction plastic is not UV stabilized. So if you leave it out very long in the sunshine, it's going to start crumbling and getting powdery and just self-destruct. So you can buy a little piece of greenhouse plastic and get years of use out of it. Because I put up things simply and functionally, I haven't actually got one piece of plastic that will cover this whole thing. So we're going to kind of Rube Goldberg this together with 2 pieces of plastic. But again, it's just to show you that you can do these simply in a cost-effective manner and have a piece of equipment that you're really going to love growing in. So here we go. We're going to quickly assemble this thing for you, and then just give you a few hints on how to use this to really both extend and improve your growing season. So again, because we haven't got one piece of plastic that'll cover the whole thing effectively, we're going to take 2 pieces. In the back, we'll leave it on the ground a little bit. You get enough hanging over there? I'm going to grab just something to hold the plastic down as we work. A special piece of equipment, a nice little rock. Put it on the back. And then how do we keep the plastic on? I already showed you the cross clips up at the top. They also make a non-cross clip, which is just a 3-inch long piece of the plastic that will snap right over these. I haven't got any of those at the moment, so a thing that I really like is I go to an office supply store like a Staples and just buy these big clips that you'll see for office use. These are the big jumbo ones. These things are great. I'll show you how these snap right over the hoops and hold the plastic on. So we'll just pull the plastic a little bit tight. Take one of these right over the tubing. Right over the tubing. Just snug it up a little bit, pull that way, right over the tubing. First piece of plastic's on pretty well. In the back, we want to make sure that we got some pretty good stones or whatever, bricks, pieces of lumber on the back, to make sure that the wind, when it gets under here, doesn't pull the plastic up over. So in the back, I'm going to take a board, one more rock, set that down, and we're pretty stable. This obviously doesn't come down all the way, and like I said, we haven't got one piece that's going to fit the whole thing, so we're just going to take a second piece of plastic and put it over this one. And on this one, we want to try to make sure that the front comes all the way down onto the ground. So get that just set up on the ground in the front. What we'll do, just take the clips off here. So now we have the whole low tunnel covered, but this obviously isn't doing a lot to help keep it warm inside or protected. So we just take 2 very simple pieces of plastic on the end. We'll put this end on first to grab that piece of plastic. And come on down here. This is going to go this way. Again, here we just want to make sure that the bottom, that we can get a rock or something on it. So we just hold it over the ends, bring it up, snug it with the clamps. When we're doing this, it always makes me think of the Beverly Hillbillies with Jed Clampett. Right here, I'll use one of these little snap clamps to show you how they work. We just snug the plastic up a little on the ends, and then just push it on, and it clamps the plastic on. Can you grab a board there? We'll just take another special piece of equipment. Put a good heavy rock on it. We'll put a few more rocks on it later. But now the ends, the tunnel's covered pretty well. We'll just go down and put the other end on. We basically now have a nice little greenhouse. Let's open the front here. Another thing that we do, because we're on the ground here and we'll have a lot of weeds coming up, if we set flats of plants in, we don't want to be getting in there and having to weed all the time. So we'll just set a piece of ground cloth in. This is a woven plastic fabric actually made to be a ground cloth, but you can actually use pieces of plastic, anything you want, basically just to put down and to keep the weeds from coming up. So we're just going to throw this inside. You pull that right down to the edge, to the end, over there. So here's our low tunnel. So how do we use this at this time of year? We don't want to keep it completely closed up all day, because on a day like today that was 65 out, it'll get up into the 90s or 100 degrees in there, and we'll be killing the plants with the heat. At night, it's still getting into the 30s or even the high 20s, and if we leave it open, the plants will probably freeze. So that's why in the front, what we do is we keep this piece just clipped with one clamp up here, so that during the day we can open it, keep it like this. We've got great ventilation, but it also, if you get a day that's say 40 or 50 out and pretty cool, we can actually put the front down to here, so that we have about a foot of airspace in the front. So it's much warmer inside than outside, but we still get that good airflow and ventilation to start hardening off the plants. So just this simple flap in the front gives us a lot of variability. At night, we just clip it down, take it down, and we just clip it here, and now we're closed up. If we're getting a brutally cold night, I can actually take a little $15 ceramic heater from one of the big box stores, ones that have a little thermostat on it, set it right about at that 35-40 degree range if we've got cold hardy plants in here, plug it in, set it inside, and that'll keep it keep the low tunnel from dropping below that 32 range and potentially killing the plants that we have in there. So nice piece of equipment. We'll start filling this up tomorrow. We'll be putting flats in. We can we'll be taking flats of plants and just loading this up. During the day, we'll have the flap up to about here. If it's real cold, we'll keep it down to about here. Every night we come out and we just drop the front flap down all the way to the ground and clip it on all of the metal hoops, just to keep the wind from doing anything destructive. One last tip, I will leave this up all summer, because any of you that are hot pepper growers, peppers love heat. So even in the summer, we can get those days that are 60, 70 degrees where it feels nice. The peppers would like that 90-degree range. So I'll put my hot peppers in here, things like Carolina Reapers and Ghosts and Lemon Drops and Congo Blacks. Put them in here, grow them in containers. And if you want to know what to feed them, go back and look at one of my videos on container growing. So we keep them in pots in here, feed them the perfect fertilizer that they love. They're hot. At night we can drop this down, so even at night they stay about 10 degrees warmer. And you'll get, gosh, I've gotten 5, 6, 7, 8 times the productivity in here than I would get growing them out in the field. So, low tunnels 101. Make it simple, make it fast. I bend the hoops up here. They're available at most of the Blue Seal stores. They're really simple. Don't worry about having your level and your transit out to put this together. This is going to be fine. It'll weather anything that Mother Nature will throw at it during the season here. And then all summer we'll be growing our hot, heat-loving plants in here. Any questions, like usual, just get in touch with me through one of the Blue Seal stores or at the email address at the end of the video. And remember, you need to know what your plants need to grow.